let's move on to the album Creature. So this comes out in 1996. This is the dreaded sophomore album that every band is terrified whether they can duplicate the original success. I mean, your first album comes out, goes 4 times platinum, which is bananas. And this is my story with Creature. So I remember being 11 years old, being on buses for hockey, doing road trips, mostly to Kingston, which I believe is where you are. So I would go to Kingston, other places, and I had a CD Walkman, and I only had 2 CDs that I played on infinite rotation. I had Bush's Razor Blade Suitcase, and this is the same year, all 96, and I had
Definitely.
Moist Creature. And that album, I remember it was one of the first albums where music became special to me. It felt like it was that album sounded, it was powerful. It was dangerous. It felt like I'm listening. I'm a part of history. I'm listening to something very important. And that kicked off my lifelong journey in the music industry, my lifelong journey, my lifelong love of music. That's how important that album is.
That's amazing.
So I wanted to
thank
share
you
that
so much.
with you.
Oh, that's incredible. Thanks. I appreciate that. That grabs my heart. So I appreciate that very much. Yeah. You know what? We're still really proud of that record. And I think one of the things that it's unfortunate that we missed the opportunity to do it. We did a 25th anniversary celebration of Silver in 1999. 2019. God, 2002, whatever it was, 3 years ago. We did that, and we missed the opportunity to do the 25th anniversary. The same thing with Creature. With Silver, we went out and we did a tour where we played the record front to back, and but we like the idea of playing Creature front to back a lot, so we might just do it for its 27th anniversary or something.
So is it the pandemic that got in the way?
Yeah, pandemic got in the way of very inconveniencing for everything, really. So yeah, but we that record was, I think I posted something on Facebook when the record turned 25, which was October 1st last year, saying, to our much loved but difficult second child. And Creature was a tough record to make. We probably made it. We've definitely made it at least twice, like not the same songs, but we demoed songs for that record forever. And we have an entire album's worth of stuff that has never seen the light of day, just trying to trying to find that thing that we were going to be able to do to kind of come back and get the success we have with the first record. And in the end, we decided to pick up and move to Montreal. We were living in Vancouver, but we were feeling very kind of displaced there. We none of us were from there, except for our drummer was from Vancouver, but the rest of us were kind of missing, Ontario and Quebec. And we had a lot of fun whenever we were in Quebec. And so we decided we'd pick up and move to Montreal. It was only when we did that the whole kind of writing thing really came together, and all the last bunch of songs that wound up on that record really took shape, including Creature and Leave It Alone and Resurrection and Gasoline. They were all there, product of that.
So I'm going to read through some of the accolades so that our listeners know how big this album was. So this one went 3 times platinum. It featured 4 singles: Leave It Alone, Resurrection, Tangerine, and Gasoline. They were all hits in Canada. Album nominated for the Album of the Year, Rock Album of the Year, Junos at the 1998 awards. Ophelia is featured in the first edition of Much Music's Big Shiny Tune. So that's a best-selling album series in Canadian history. That album with Your Song sells another three times platinum. Tangerine won 2 MMVAs for Best Director, Best Video. And in between 1996 and 2016, so in a 20-year period, that's among the top 15 best-selling albums in Canada by a Canadian band. So at this point, so you have a 4 times platinum debut, 3 times platinum sophomore album. At that point, do you feel like you can do no wrong? Like every album you're ever going to release is automatically multi-platinum?
No, we're still terrified for sure, because we still know that we've got to find some way to do it all again. And that kind of led to a bit of a lengthy break after Creature. We loved the success of Creature, and that record was a record that kept on giving. It never got super high in the charts, but it stayed in the charts for I think like 18 months or something like that. It sort of stayed in the top 50 for a long time. And it just kept on, kept on selling. Like every week it was selling a couple thousand. And yeah, a lot of opportunities came out of that record as well. So it turned us from being a band that could play small theaters and large clubs to being a band that could sell arenas and do arena shows. And it was amazing for sure.
Is the song Resurrection the most powerful song in the Moist catalog? I mean, between the lyrics, the vocal delivery, the bass, the big guitars, is that the most powerful?
Yeah, it might be. I mean, it's got a drive. I mean, I feel like it's pretty powerful too. There's a bunch of stuff on that record that's pretty driving for sure. But Resurrection is a lot of people's favorite song for sure. And I still feel it. Whenever it comes on the radio myself, I feel like, okay, there's something kind of cool and magical about this song.
The megaphone at the end of the song, where did the idea for that come from? It sounds like he's preaching, which is
the ending of these.
Yeah. Any idea where that comes into?
No, I don't remember that.
That's all good.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, I don't remember when we sat in the room when everything was being mixed, and it was probably just an idea that somebody threw out. And yeah, and it worked for sure. Yeah, it's cool. Actually, I hadn't thought about that as a thing because I'm so used to hearing the song live. I've heard it live a lot more times than I've heard it, and we don't do that.
so to me, it's the song's called Resurrection with the lyrics. Like it feels kind of like this religious thing, and the megaphone sounds like a public figure standing in front of a crowd, captivating attention. Like it feels like a part of the lore of that song to me.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And David definitely takes on he embodies some kind of character for sure in the lyrics of that song. And when he's presenting it, that definitely makes sense for sure.
So you guys have trumpet on the song Creature and cello on the song Tangerine. So this is in between 93 and 96, grunge is at its height. And here you guys are with cello, trumpet, and piano. What gave you guys the cajones to have these instruments? And is that what made you stand out?
Yeah, I think it definitely made us stand out. Part of it was that we wanted the record to sound different than the first record. And we knew that with Tangerine, we wanted something that was not, there's something fundamentally push like about Tangerine in a way, and that is in the same key. It starts with guitar, and I remember thinking, we're all sitting there thinking this could use something different. And I can't remember whose idea it was to have cello, but when we brought it up in the studio, I think it was our producer Paul Northfield who suggested this guy Claude Lamoth, who was an amazing, fantastic Montreal cello player, and he called him and Claude popped in, and he was in and out of the studio in half an hour. And we just like our jaws just dropped when we heard what he did. And it just added an element. For Creature felt like a fanfare. It felt like that kind of a song. It felt like just the way it starts with a bam, like even before the trumpet came in, it felt like that kind of a song. And it always reminded me, I think I mentioned the Waterboys when we first started talking as one of my favorite bands from when I was a kid. And there's a song on their third record called Don't Bang the Drum that starts off with a trumpet fanfare. And it felt like Creature could use that same kind of treatment. And it should have been honestly the album opener, and it was probably meant to be with the fanfare of like, here we are, we're back. Here's the record, here's the title track, that kind of thing. And yeah, it just worked. I mean, we got pretty freaky with Gasoline later on with the radio remix of that, which is full of strings and all kinds of crazy stuff too. So we were having fun at that point. We had a difficult time writing the record, but when we recorded it, we had a great time. We got to experiment and have fun, and yeah.
If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Definitely, for sure. And that's the problem with the writing of the record. We weren't having fun, so we weren't doing it right. And it was only when we moved to Montreal that we started having fun and started to remember what it was like to be in a band again, and started to remember how much fun it was. And yeah.
So I love the sound of your bass. The bass itself recorded, it has a crisp and clear sound. You can hear all the individual notes. It's not just kind of this low end feeling that is under the mix. It really stands out. Another band to me that has a similar sounding crisp bass is Rage Against the Machine. I don't know if that's a comparison you've ever heard or if you agree,
No.
but just
Well,
crystal clear, but you can hear the pop of the bass.
yeah.
That jumps out to me. So I guess this is more of a tech head question. What amps, basses, pedals do you use to achieve your signature sound? If you want to give away the magic sauce here.
No, you know what? There's very little magic to it. But I do remember a very important lesson that was taught to me by a when Mark and I had our first band together, the VK Fan Club in Kingston. A sound guy who was mixing us at the Alfie's, the student pub at the time, came to me and he said, "You know, you guys are really good, but you play together. You're really tight, but you need to listen to the tones of your instrument more because you're in the same frequencies a lot." And I remember thinking, "Oh, okay, yeah, all right, that makes sense." And at that point, I killed all the mid on my bass and went to using just simply the neck pickup. Never used the bridge pickup again, and that's been the sound. Most of the sound on the bass has been on the first record. It was very much just the bass, just with everything dialed up to full. There's active pickups in my bass, and that might be part of it, but going directly into a DI. The later records, we also used an Ampeg, but I feel like it's the classic sound of a rock bass. It's an Ampeg cabinet and a Fender Precision, and that's been the bass sound for all my favorite records, I think.
So we have some kind words sent in from Canadian television personality. This is Canadian royalty. This is Bill Welychka. So he says, loved watching their rise to the top of the Canadian rock peak. They are proof that hard work and originality will pay off. David's vocals are nothing without Jeff's backups. And then he whispers, don't tell Dave I said that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Bill's great. And Bill's now a Kingston resident as well. So that's amazing. I feel like something that needs to be said, and I feel bad that I haven't said it enough now, but when he's talking about our rise, the success of the band is completely about the fact that we all constantly play well together, and we play not just musically, but that everyone in the band has a role, and everyone's role is different, and everyone's personality is different, but there's something that just works. The parts of one person's shortcomings are another person's assets, and we just we come together in a band, and that's been the way it was since 1993. Just like it's a team that works really well together because everyone's different and everyone participates, and yeah.
So we mentioned your backup vocals. I think that's, again, one of the signature sounds of Moist is the multiple vocalists and backup vocals. You mentioned to me that it's not David singing his own backup vocals. Can you elaborate on why that is?
Well, we always wanted to make the record sound like the band sounds live, and David doesn't sing his own harmonies live. So, and Kevin and I are, we love singing backup. And so there's just no point in having him sing live. I always find it kind of weird when a singer sings his own harmonies. It always sounds kind of like, I find it disjointed, and you hear it a lot. I mean, some of my favorite recordings do that, like, Sting's all over all the Police songs singing his own backups. But as much as I love those, I always feel like that's just kind of weird. Like, why doesn't somebody else sing those things instead? So that's why it's just simply we're a live band first and foremost, and the studio is just trying to capture that energy.